do yourself a favor and stop suppressing how you really feel internally. You have to understand that your internal world navigates how you act in the external world. And if you suppress what you want to express internally, well, you will be depressed. You have to understand that if you're not expressing yourself to the fullest, you're missing the point of life. You're supposed to express yourself to the fullest, to the highest of the levels, to say what you want to say, when you want to say it, how you want to say it. You're supposed to express yourself with free will. You're supposed to actually be yourself, the most authentic version of you, by expressing yourself at the highest level. And so most of you guys suppress how you truly feel internally because you don't want to cause a negative impression on someone else. You don't want to impress somebody's consciousness with, you know, what you feel they would perceive as negative, or what you feel they would perceive as weird, or, you know, something in that category, in that realm, right? So you have to understand that you as an individual, it's in your power, it's your responsibility to say, I don't give a fuck how this person feels. I'm going to be myself, and I will naturally attract and get people to resonate with how I naturally act and how I feel. You have to understand that there's always going to be a person there watching you. There's always going to be a person watching how you express yourself authentically, because you have to understand that the authentic version of you, there is no other. The fingerprint on your hand, there is no other in the universe. There is no replica of the fingerprint on your hand. And you have to understand, the universe is vast. The universe is very expanded and wide. And to sit there with, you know, this fingerprint that is only embodied on you, on your body, your unique fucking barcode of being in the universe, you have to understand that to sit there and suppress how you truly feel internally just because you don't want to cause a certain expression or impression on someone else, you know, you don't want to impress the perceiver of your consciousness, you know, with a negative impression. You don't want to, you know, feel like you're left out or whatever. But if they are going to feel some type of way about you expressing yourself at the authentic, most realist level, well, then they were never real to begin with. And so you have to understand that you need to mature. You need to become aware of yourself. You need to focus on you and not them. And then maybe you'll start to level up in life. Maybe you'll feel a little bit less lazy. Maybe you'll feel a little bit more activated. Maybe you'll feel a little bit more alive. You'll feel, you know, you're ready to do shit. You're ready to be yourself. You're ready to, you know, shed the cocoon and end up as a butterfly. But most of you guys, you trap yourself into these webs of, what is this person gonna think? What is that person gonna think? When no one actually gives a fuck. And if you die tomorrow, that person probably wouldn't even show up at your funeral. And so most of you guys, you have these big ideas. You have these ways you want to express yourself. And, you know, there's a fine line border between, you know, what's authentic and what's not authentic, right? Because if you want to express yourself, but then every suggestion that comes into your consciousness, you know, you act upon it, well, that's negative. Because if you get the suggestion to smack the shit out of someone and you feel as if you need to express yourself at the most authentic level, so you smack the shit out of that person, that's going to end up in a negative consequence for you. And so this is why God has implanted something called fucking conscience. So when you know something's wrong but you do it anyway, just remember that that karma is going to be brutal. And that karma don't fucking play. And the higher level your consciousness, the more of fucking karma you're going to experience. So do yourself a favor and become aware to the fact that, you know, expressing yourself at the highest pedigree, at the highest level, to, you know, be yourself all the time and never compromise yourself is the way of life. But you also have a conscience, a rational mind to rationalize if this is the way you should express yourself or not. And there you will, you know, come to the conclusion that what you are being suggested to do and to act upon is just going to affect you negatively or positively. And if it's negative, well, you know, then don't fucking do it. But be yourself to the most authentic degree, and you will see that you'll enter flow states of just being yourself, your natural expression at the highest level. And a lot of people, they want to conform to the perceiver, and they want to change who they are to fit someone else's narrative. But you have to become the narrative. You have to say, fuck this individual. This person's a piece of shit. This person's not going anywhere. It's not going far in life anyway. You know, if a person needs you to conform to their perception anyway, that person is most likely going to die subordinate slave. So, guys, just be yourself to the most authentic degree as you possibly could be. And understand that as you follow the path, you know, as you unveil who you are to yourself, most people, they know their career, but they don't know who the fuck they are. Who the fuck are you? You don't even know who the fuck you are. You haven't proved yourself who the fuck you are. You don't even know yourself to the deepest of depths. Only thing you know about yourself is that you like certain things, you want to do certain things, you enjoy certain foods. You see, your relationship with yourself is at a surface level. You have a relationship with yourself, and it's so fucking surface level, you don't even know yourself with depth. You haven't experienced yourself. You see, Just wait till this fuck is past. But you have to understand that you haven't experienced yourself with depth. You don't know yourself in depth. You have ineptitudes within yourself, and you may express that, but you don't know who the fuck you really are when shit really hits the fan. Who the fuck are you? They say circumstance reveals the man, right? Well, if you haven't experienced the circumstance to reveal you to yourself, you're most likely going to die with this false identity. And so we can get into spirituality, and we can get into energy and consciousness and the interdynamics of the universe and so on and so forth. But, you know, that is not important. The only thing that is important, like, you have to understand that if it's not adding value into your material existence, you can cast that aside and you can put that in the storage, in the treasure chest, in your fucking, you know, metaphysical accumulation of metaphysical materials, your metaphysical fucking mind, your mind. You can put that in a chest in your mind, and you can store away the accumulation of the metaphysical materials that you somehow came across, not on the fucking internet, maybe through demeditation. You know, there's a couple ways you can end up with metaphysical materials that come from, you know, different thought dimensions and different, you know, ways and patterns of, you know, just enlightenment. That's really what it is. When you go onto the frequency chart and you see enlightenment, you know, that right there, when you hit that, that's just a different fucking level of, you know, enlightenment. And so you guys have to understand that if you're not going to express yourself to the most authentic degree, if you're going to compromise yourself, you know, for the perceiver, you know, you're going to compromise yourself for people who perceive you, and then you conform to what you think they need to perceive. So you conform, you change who you are to fit their narrative of what the fuck they're experiencing in their life. You know, that just goes to show how fake you are to yourself, and then how fake you are to the person you're, you know, conforming to. Because you have to understand that if you're not the most authentic version of yourself, you're most likely going to be some low-level piece of shit that doesn't have any confidence, doesn't know how to express themselves at the highest level, doesn't really know much about life. Only thing they know is how to fake a smile and how to get shit they want, you know, the easiest fucking way possible. So do yourself a favor, don't be a low-level fuck. You know, express yourself, be yourself. Don't try to be different, because that shit is corny, but don't try to be like everyone else, because that shit is corny. Just be your fucking self. That's all we're trying to say. I mean, the choice is really yours. What are you going to do? Are you going to continue to go through life as a reactionary fucking debauched primate? Conform, and then suppress what you want to express internally, and then feel depressed because you're depressing yourself from your internal expression. You are depressing who you are to fit the narrative of all these debauched fucks. You have to really think about this. You need to open a notebook, and you have to think about every time you change who you are and what you wanted to say, and your truth, because every truth is different. Every human is their own experience. You are experiencing yourself. So my truth, you know, there's always a certain resonance to truth, but the way I feel about certain things, you may feel a certain way about certain things. But you have to understand that we will resonate with each other in a different formulation of the way we came across the truth, because everyone finds the truth in their own way. And so when you find the truth, you know, it's going to be different than how I found the truth, but it's going to resonate across the board because it's the truth. But you will be able to express that in a different light, and I will be able to express that in a different light. It's just fractions of light, fractal patterns of light. And this, you know, this is a whole different level. And you have to understand that, you know, when you express yourself at the highest level, you're no longer being a part of this, you know, conformity societal matrix, bro. These people are in mental prisons. If they wanted to act a certain way, they would compromise themselves to not act a certain way. So when you see a certain person and they're acting a certain way, they couldn't act any differently because they've programmed their subconscious to work against them at such a fucking level that they are programmed with ineptitude. They are programmed to conform to every fucking thing they see. They are programmed to literally change by the perceiver. So, you know, the person they are at work is definitely not the person they are when they're with their friends, and the person they are with their friends is definitely not the person they are with their mom and dad. And so you have to understand that this person is literally embodying different forms of themselves, you know, to fit other people's narratives. And so you really need to think deep about who the fuck you are, because you don't even know who the fuck you are, because you're not authentic, you're fake. And if you're fake to everyone around you, you're definitely fake to yourself. So the goal is to find yourself through all this shit that you've been faking with. You have to find yourself in the shit that you have buried yourself within, because the gold is within the shit. But, you know, within that shit you put on the gold, you know, you have to uncover by tearing off layers of the shit by revealing yourself through circumstance, by going through the fucking journey within, by taking a risk and earning a reward, by beginning your personal development and seeing where the journey takes you. The moment you begin with that personal development at a high level, not this joke around, I need to, no, like you have to, it's like this instinctual desire in your heart that is pulsing you, and every breath you take is moving you closer towards that goal. It can't be this low level fuckery of I feel like I need to be better. I do all this shit and now I feel like shit for it. Let me just try personal development. No, you need to wake up, and that first breath you take, like the first breath you're conscious of, that breath is going to lead you straight into your personal development. And for the entire day, for the entire week, and for your entire fucking life, you're going to end up just continuing the personal development on this infinite cycle. And as you continue that personal development, you will find the real you. Most of you guys aren't real. Most of you guys are fake. Most of you guys are fake to yourself. So how the fuck can you be real to me? I want to see the real you. I want to see what you've buried. I want to see the talent that you hide. I want to see the version of you that you repress because you are afraid to express. I want to see that version of you. I want to see the version of you who unveils their potential no matter who the fuck is watching. I want to see the person that is hiding dormant underneath the shit, underneath the envy, underneath the hate, underneath the traumatic experiences, underneath all the bad shit that's happening to you. I want to see the individual uncovered. I want to see the realest version of you. I want to see that light that gives you life. And the only way you're gonna uncover that is by looking in the mirror and confronting that bitch. That's the only fucking truth. And we can talk about this in the meanest way possible. We can give it to you in the most strictest way possible. We can give you the message in a whole bunch of formulations of words and the accumulation of just sentences in a variety of different ways. But all I'm trying to tell you is be the most expressive version of you. And when you see my videos, that's me expressing myself to the highest of degree. And some may feel intimidated and some may feel captivated, but you have to understand that that's me revealing to myself who the fuck I am. And this gives me a different level of confidence. This gives me a different level of I know who the fuck I am. Who the fuck are you? And some people resonate and some people are repulsed away because they can't resonate with such a real, authentic level of themselves. Like, everyone has this within them. Everyone has their own unique form in the journey of finding it. So it's going to express differently the way you came across it. But everyone has their own seed that they need to grow in water. And they do that through experiencing what they need to experience to become the individual they always needed to become what the fuck they were meant to be in the life they only get once. The divine plan, you're supposed to stick to it. All you guys are sticking to the weed, and your fingers are sticky because you're rolling blunts, and you can stick to the vape, and you can stick to showing up, at Pornhub at 12 a.m. But you can't stick to what the fuck is going to unveil you to you, because you don't know yourself, because you've never experienced yourself in depth. You've only experienced yourself in the ineptitudes of whatever the fuck you believe you're worth, which is the reflection of your reality. So think about it. Peace!